It's Jackie Mumphrey, the Mableton Maven, and I am coming to you today in the car. And I am on my way to go meet a potential client here. He is looking to rent something, and we're going to see if we can work it out for him. He is looking to rent a fairly large home, set himself on a budget to be around $8,000 a month. He's going to be looking for, space around 5,000 to 8,000 square feet. So we're going to see what's available out here for him and see if he likes it. And so what I wanted to come to you today with is, if you're looking to rent a house, rent a condo, or rent a townhouse, a couple things you want to keep in mind is that, number one, make sure you've got decent credit before you go out and looking, and set the expectation that you are going to have to, or you should be setting an expectation that you're going to have to get your credit checked. For some reason, people always say, well, I'm trying to do some things with my credit and this, that. You can't rent a house in Atlanta without having your credit pulled. You just can't. And, if that was even possible, if you were renting something without having your credit checked, or having a background check done on you, then they're going to charge you 2, 3, 4 times the amount of the deposit, because it's a risk. They don't know who you are, you really don't know who they are. So you really want to be aware that you're going to have your credit pulled. It's very important. The next thing that you need to be aware of is that you want to make sure that you have done your own due diligence. It's great to rely on a real estate agent to help you locate property. It's their job to look out for your best interest when you're out looking for some property to rent. But you need to make sure you do the due diligence, because since you don't own that property, you want to make sure that you are doing everything that you need to do. Number one, make sure that your realtor that you work with has found out if that homeowner is going to be in arrears on their mortgage, because face it, right now in the economy that we're experiencing right now, a lot of homeowners are hurting. And a lot of renters think that's ammunition to go in and ask for less on the rent just because they're desperate. You don't want a desperate owner. Believe you me, you don't want a desperate owner, because if they're not paying the mortgage company now what they owe the mortgage company, and when they take your money, you gotta think, can they still make the difference on this payment? So say you go in, this gentleman here is looking to spend something around $7 to $8 grand a month, and the place that we're looking at, with my calculations, the mortgage on that property with the taxes and the insurance that gentleman's going to be paying on his property is probably going to be anywhere from, say, $12,000 to $15,000 a month. And if my gentleman's only paying $8,000 a month, that means that homeowner has to come up and pay the additional $7,000, and you need to make sure that they're going to be in a position to be able to do so before you put in that kind of money into place. And before you think, like, okay, well, why would someone spend that much money on a rental, but if they obviously have money to buy? Well, the thought process is, I could buy a property, say he could put down, 20% to buy a $3 million property. He's putting in, leveraging a lot of money into that property and maintaining it, insuring it, and keeping it up. And he is, may not want to be in a position to have to do that. A lot of people who are spending that kind of money on a rental are going to be looking at something on a temporary basis, of usually less than 2 years. So they're not going to want to invest right now in a home that's in that price point and not be able to sell it, when they're ready to leave and move on to something else in 2 years. You've got entertainers, athletes, even some, news journalists and people that do a lot of travel, and they're not really in one place for a long period of time. They don't want to invest that kind of money. So when you think of why somebody has that kind of money, and why would they rent, why wouldn't they buy, that would be some reasons why, or those would be some reasons why they wouldn't want to do that. A couple of things you need to look out for is, if schools are important to you, you need to make sure the property is going to be in a good school district, or be able to afford private school. Unfortunately, some places in Atlanta, schooling isn't all that great, and other places is excellent. So you want to make sure that you do your own homework. Just don't necessarily just rely on the realtor. Do your own homework prior to meeting the realtor. It'll make the transaction a little bit easier and smoother, and then you kind of have an understanding about where you're living, because it is an investment, so to speak. You're investing, or you're investing your dollars for a product that you're going to enjoy, and so you need to make sure it's going to be right for you. So just kind of wanted to briefly talk about that a little bit. I'll find out what this guy wants to do here once you see this. What he's looking at is a townhome, 5-bedroom townhome, a little under 8,000 square feet in the city, and hopefully it'll be something he likes. So thanks for watching, and